Hello and good afternoon. My name is Kieran Briscoe from the CREAT, the North East Cancer Research and Education Trust, a regional cancer charity based in Drogheda, County Louth. Thanks to all for joining. We hope you find the afternoon beneficial towards your future career decisions. I'm aware that we have people joining us from all parts of the island, from Rathlin Island to Bantry Bay. All are most welcome. Today's research is tomorrow's cure. Looking into the future, 10, 15, 20 years from now, by building on the many significant advances of the last 20 years, how cancer is treated is likely to be radically different than it is today. In 2001, the first targeted drug was approved for the treatment of cancer. Yesterday, during World Cancer Research Day, it was reported that since then, 200 targeted therapies have been approved. Today, you will hear from some of the brightest minds on this island who will actively contribute to the coming revolution in medical care for cancer. It's a great pleasure to host this event in collaboration with Queen's University Belfast and the RCSI. Our aim is to inspire the next generation of cancer scientists, doctors, nurses, and various other specialist roles. Such people will be the key to combating a disease that is the second biggest challenge to public health in this century. Our agenda begins with hearing from a freshly qualified doctor and scientist, followed by leading specialists from hospital and lab settings. Guidance counsellors will summarise possible third-level education career pathways. Finally, you, the audience, will get the opportunity to participate by Q&A through the chat box. Let's begin by warmly welcoming the President and Vice-Chancellor of Queen's University Belfast, Professor Ian Greer, who will make the opening address.
I'm delighted to welcome you here today to this All Island Schools Virtual Open Day. This is being delivered by the North East Cancer Research and Education Trust in association with Queen's University Belfast and the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. We at Queen's are delighted to support this All Island event, which gives students from schools in Ireland and Northern Ireland the opportunity to hear about the great opportunities that are available to them in both medicine and medical research. Queen's is a truly global university, and we hope that today gives you a flavour of the many things we have to offer. We also recognise the opportunity for deeper and more meaningful education and research opportunities at an all-island level, where we welcome the commitment that the Higher Education Authority and Science Foundation Ireland have made to support these all-island initiatives. A particular focus of the day is cancer research and cancer care. So I'm really delighted that a number of our top researchers from the Patrick G. Johnston Centre for Cancer Research will be enthusing the students, both north and south, with the world-leading research that they're undertaking here at Queen's. Research that delivers significant global impact. Cancer research is one of the jewels in our crown at Queen's. So today represents an unrivaled opportunity to hear from international leaders who I know will inspire you to follow in their footsteps. Queen's is committed to providing a world-class learning and training experience for students who choose our university as their destination, whether for undergraduate or postgraduate education. We pride ourselves on the excellent estate with world-class teaching and research facilities that empower students to achieve their maximum potential. We hope that today will enthuse and inspire you as you take the next confident steps in your journey, knowing that you have the capability to transform people's lives through cancer care and research.
Focused on careers combating cancer. It is greatly appreciated. In our next segment, you will get to hear from Dr. Neil Conlon, who is a cancer researcher at the National Institute for Cellular Biotechnology in Dublin City University. He is someone who has been very supportive and centrally involved since we held our first Open Day in 2018. Dr. Conlon will be joined by Dr. Alicia Brennan, who is currently training in paediatrics at University Hospital Galway. She's also a former winner of the Rose of Tralee. Both will kindly share their own recent personal experiences and journeys into medicine and medical research.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Now, so I'm going to tell you about my own journey to becoming a cancer researcher. As Kieran said, I'm a cancer biologist based in Dublin City University. So before telling you about how I became a cancer researcher and how to become a cancer researcher, we first need to kind of talk about who actually carries out cancer research. So the professions that we mostly think of with cancer research are oncologists and lab scientists, but oncologists being the actual medical doctors carrying out clinical research. This could be a medical oncologist that's testing out different new treatments for different cancer types. That could be radiation oncologists that are looking at new radiotherapy regimens, and also surgical oncologists for new surgery treatments. And then people like myself that are lab scientists. This can be a cell biologist like me, but it can also be chemists that are developing state-of-the-art drugs, or even physicists for new technologies. But there's many, many more professions that are actually involved in cancer research. So if you're thinking about a career in cancer research, you don't have to just think about a medical or scientific approach. You can go down the career path of nursing. Nurses carry out both clinical research and can also be involved in more basic research. There's public health researchers that are looking at how to control the development of cancer in society. Dietitians, of course, looking at how our diet can impact on cancer and prognosis. Psychologists, physiotherapists, and many, many more professions. So don't think that you're just isolated to looking at a medical specific career. So my own journey then started in Maynooth University, National University of Ireland, Maynooth. I graduated in 2013 with a Bachelor's of Science in Biology and Chemistry. The main thing I took from this was actually to explore everything. Try every different subject that you're interested in. Don't box yourself into a specific discipline. That'll help you in the long run decide what you want to do. And also, if you go into cancer research, it gives you greater insight when you have different experiences. I carried out my PhD then in cancer biology in Dublin City University, specializing in drug resistance and breast cancer. During my PhD, I was very lucky to be a visiting researcher in the University of California in Los Angeles to go to Professor Dennis Slayman's lab, where I carried out a project looking at a particular subtype of breast cancer. And now my role is as a postdoctoral fellow in BCU, and I'm looking at new treatment options for hard-to-treat cancers, such as ovarian cancer and metastatic breast cancer. So on a day-to-day basis then, I'm trying to understand how to improve current treatment options for patients. So cancer in a patient can respond to treatment and stop growing. That's what we hope for with our drugs. But what can happen is that the drug can cause the cancer can develop resistance either innately or it can acquire mutations that stop it from responding to the drug treatment. And that's when a patient would have their cancer relapse. So what I do in the lab is I try and understand what's happening to the cancer before and after we treat with the approved treatments, and try to analyze to see what differences we see in patient samples. And then, of course, come up with new treatment options for those cancers. So in the top video here, we can see breast cancer cells growing on the plastic surface. So in this picture, they're just growing without any treatment in an uncontrolled way, just filling up the entire dish. Whereas down here with our new treatment, we've stopped their cancer growth. This is what we want to see. We want to come up with new treatment options for patients to improve current survival. So other than what we do in the lab, our job is much more complex. So of course, once we gather all this data, we have to analyze it. So although I'm a biologist, you still need some decent math skills in the job. You need to be able to analyze your data. And then, of course, you need to be able to write up your data into a publication. A lot of your job is spent actually trying to discuss your data and argue your case, basically. As an academic scientist, I'm also involved in teaching, so lecturing undergraduate students, teaching different biological disciplines, and also teaching more junior scientists. The way a cancer biology lab is structured, you have PhD students, postdoctoral fellows, principal investigators, all in one place, and everyone learns from each other. I also get to travel a bit as a cancer biologist, so you get to present your work at different conferences. That could be, like in the picture here, at the American Association for Cancer Research. This can be in Chicago, in Washington, D.C. You get to travel to a lot of very interesting places. Another place you get to travel is actually the pub. So we do a lot of outreach work, and we give different presentations, such as Pub HD. And a lot of cancer research is public funded. So we don't want to just take public funding and do our own projects, and we want to feed back to the community and tell people what we actually do and the improvements that we're trying to make. So my main advice for everyone is to explore your options fully. Don't ring fence yourself early on, especially when you're going into third level education. Go as general as possible as you can if you're not sure what you want to do, and specialize after that. That's something I found very important. And a lot of part of the job is failure. We have failed experiments, things don't go right. We have failed grants. We have failed publications. Don't be afraid of failure. You get a lot of improvement with failure. And even if you don't get the course you want, if you don't get into the exact career you want, there's still a lot of movement there. So embrace failure, really. And be passionate about what you do. Don't settle for anything. Find your niche, and you can strive on in cancer research. So thanks everyone for listening. If anyone has any questions or wants to get in touch, my email address and Twitter handle are below. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Alicia Brennan and I'm currently in my third year working as a doctor, now specialising in paediatrics. You're all very welcome today. What I wanted to do is very briefly discuss my journey to medicine and then my experience in first year of medical school. So I've always been really interested in medicine, always kind of gravitated towards medical programs and television, and even had a baby doc when I was little. So being a doctor was always something I was interested in. That passion was kind of reaffirmed in transition year when I did a 2-week placement in a really busy emergency department in Dublin, and it just cemented that passion and that dream that I wanted to go on and become a doctor. When I sat my leaving cert initially in 2011, I was unsuccessful. I wasn't a million miles off the points between my HPAT score and my leaving cert. I didn't make the points for medicine that year. So I really, fortunately, was given an opportunity to repeat my leaving cert. So that was a really difficult 9 months. All of your friends are going off to college and having these fabulous new experiences, and you're studying, Hamlet and project maths and all that encompasses. But I sat my leaving cert again in 2012 and resat the HPAT, and was really lucky to come out with the points for medicine. So I started in the Royal College of Surgeons, I think it was September in 2013. Didn't know anybody at all. I remember walking into the O'Flanagan Lecture Theatre on my first day feeling really overwhelmed at the prospect of 300 students, and I didn't know what was ahead of me. Those first couple of weeks were really overwhelming, but I think no matter who you are or what course you're doing or what college you're going to, it's always going to be a transitional time in your life and very overwhelming, with lots of new faces and lots of new information being thrown at you. The Royal College of Surgeons, or the RCSI, was always my first choice. I wanted to study in a city centre school. What really attracted me to the RCSI was that it's purely a medical science based university. So you're amongst physiotherapists, pharmacists, and people studying medicine, and then they do postgraduate nursing degrees as well. So all very like-minded people with the same affirmations and beliefs as you, that kind of want the same things to ultimately help and serve people. So first year was incredible. I have really brilliant memories from that time and made the best friends that I have, and we're all still friends, even though we're on different continents at the moment. So first year, you do kind of all your basic sciences. So I remember clinical biochemistry was the thorn in my side and my Achilles tendon. I had studied chemistry and biology, like I imagine a lot of you are doing. I hadn't done physiotherapy, or not physiotherapy, physics, but I'd done chemistry and biology for my leaving cert, take 1 and take 2, but found biochemistry really challenging and new, and it was definitely my hardest subject. Another highlight at first year was definitely spending time in the anatomy lab. So it's a very practical learning experience in first year with people that have incredibly selflessly and kindly donated their bodies to science. So you're taught by surgeons all about the anatomy, and it's palpable and it's there, and you are engaging with cadavers and learning all about anatomy, not just from a book, but physically you can see, touch, smell it, which was amazing. I'll never forget the first time going into the anatomy lab. We were all scared little mice, but it's such a highlight of your early years of training. And even now, when I'm examining someone or doing a cardiovascular or neurological examination or whatever it might be, I always think back to my time in the anatomy lab and those incredible people that donated their body to science to further our learning. They really are your first teachers in life and in your career. And there's such a level of respect, and we're also grateful for them. First year was amazing, engaging in lots of societies and nights out, and it's such a fun time in your life where you're becoming autonomous and independent, and doing something that you really, really love. So I had a ball in first year in RCSI. I couldn't recommend it enough. What I will say to people is, and I know I'm only giving you a very brief, short synopsis of my own story, but there are so many different ways to get to where you want to be. And, sitting to my left and right on that first day in O'Flanagan Theatre was people that have taken very different routes to get to medicine. And my first intern job, my co-intern, was a music teacher before she did postgraduate medicine. I had repeated my leaving cert. There was plenty of people that had taken lots of different roads in life to get to that first day of first year in RCSI. So I know a lot of you are studying and hoping to pursue medicine as a career. It's an incredible career. It's overwhelmingly rewarding. It's challenging on some days, but I'm constantly reminded in work what a privilege it is to help people and to go into work every day and make people's life a little better and leave them a little bit better than when you found them. But I wish you all the very best of luck in your upcoming examinations, and to reiterate that if you are not successful the first time, there's so many different routes and doors and scenic paths that you can take, and all life experience, no matter what it is and what road you take on your journey to medicine and to becoming a doctor, will make you a better person, because all life experience is very valuable. So the very best of luck. I know it's short and sweet, but please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'd love to talk to anyone looking for advice. I'm currently in pediatrics at the moment. If anyone needs any advice or I can offer my help in any way, please reach out to me on Instagram. My name is Alicia with an X at the end of it. And enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for having me.
Dr. Brennan and Dr. Conlon, thank you very much for sharing your valuable experience. Moving right along, we now have the pleasure of hearing from 3 leaders in the field of cancer research and care: Professor Mark Lawler, Elizabeth Summersby, and Dr. Reem Salman. Professor Mark Lawler of Queen's University Belfast will open this session. He's an internationally renowned scientist with over 30 years' experience in cancer research, who is passionate about translating his research for the benefit of patients and society. Elizabeth Summersby is an advanced nurse practitioner in the cancer unit of Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital and has been caring for patients for over 24 years. After doing a master's related to chemotherapy, she is currently writing a doctoral thesis. She's also a director of NACREAT. Dr. Reem Salman is a consultant breast surgeon at the Beacon, Mater, Beaumont and Craigavon hospitals. She's one of the most highly regarded in her field in this country. Dr. Salman specialises in breast cancer, including cancer screening, risk-reducing breast surgery and reconstructive surgery. We really appreciate your time today in outlining the different opportunities in your respective fields. Again, please be sure to input into the chat feature any questions or queries that you would like to address to our panel. I'll now hand you over to Professor Mark Lawler.
Thanks very much indeed, Kieran. Greetings to you from, as you can see, sunny Belfast. And what I'd like to do is just tell you a little bit about my journey, but also then the opportunities that have really presented themselves to me and can present themselves to you as we move forward through your education system. I started in Trinity with a natural sciences degree back in the last millennium in 1981. And one of the things I want to emphasize too is sometimes luck and serendipity can play a part in how you move on in your career. And I was really lucky that I went to Trinity, which at the time was the only university to offer a primary degree in genetics. One of the things that's important is that luck is you need to recognize that luck and then take advantage of it. What was happening in 1981? Well, the Berlin Wall still hadn't come down. Adamant was top of the charts, and Spurs had won the FA Cup, which is probably the last time they won anything. And on my birthday, 21st of January 1981, the DeLorean car at Back to the Future rolled off the production line. And by 1983, I'd gone into the genetics department in my 3rd year, and it was a very famous department at the time, but also a very historical building that had actually been the eye hospital of William Wilde, who was Oscar Wilde's father. And in a way, I was very lucky because I had a cultural triangle of Oscar Wilde's, where he was born, just around the corner from me on the left. If I went out on the right, I saw Finn's Hotel, where Nora Barnacle first met James Joyce. And then there's also the long room with the Book of Kells up at the front of the college. However, I was probably more interested at that stage in the liquid triangle, Lincoln, the Pavilion Bar and Kenny's Pub. So I spent a fair bit of my time there enjoying myself as well as learning about science and genetics. And the second piece of luck was the opportunity to travel. And it's really important that you take these opportunities. I was fortunate to get an Irish American Foundation scholarship, and I went to Brown University in Rhode Island, went to the lab of Keith Bostian, who was a molecular geneticist, and I really had an excellent training experience. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of techniques, but it wasn't all Eppendorfs and gels. We also used to go down to Boston to watch the Boston Red Sox play in Fenway Park and knock the ball over the big green giant. The second gate that opened to me, not the gate there to Guinness's Pub, but just up, or Guinness's Brewery, but just up the road to it, was St. James's Hospital. And that's where I went then in terms of doing my PhD and postdoc. And really, again, it was learning about how you use genetics and molecular biology at the time. And this is just an example of one of the challenges that we faced. We were trying to distinguish whether particular patients had a rare T-cell lymphoma, so a type of cancer, or dermatitis, which is obviously a non-malignant skin disease. If you looked at them down the microscope, they were actually very similar. So it wasn't possible to tell the difference. And it was only by actually probing the architecture, the genetic architecture of the tumor cell, that we could actually tell the difference. Again, one of the things I've also been very lucky is to have people working with me who were really talented individuals. And this was Lorraine Tracy, who is a PhD student in my lab. And we published a seminal paper in Blood, which is the Journal of the American Hematology Society, showing by using genetics and genomics that we could actually distinguish between the malignant disease and the non-malignant skin disorder. And that was really important because it meant then we could decide which patients would get particular therapy that we could use to cure that disease. And so again, this is also a great opportunity for Lorraine because she spent part of her time at the National Cancer Center in Spain, in Madrid, as part of the PhD program. The third gate that opened for me, and the gate that I'm currently still inside at the moment, is Queen's University in Belfast, where I work. And again, a huge opportunity presented to me first in 2012 when I came here as a visiting professor. And then I liked what I saw. They apparently liked me. So I've been here since 2012. And one of the things we then started to look at, think big, answer big challenges, and don't be afraid to answer big challenges. And one of the biggest challenges that we face is that every minute 3 European citizens die from cancer. And what we did was identified the different disparities between different parts of Europe and used that to create a European Cancer Patients Bill of Rights. And this is really a charter that challenged the inequalities that unfortunately cancer patients were facing right across Europe. And it became very much an empowerment tool for cancer patients. It resonated right across Europe. I was privileged to accept the European Health Award on behalf of all cancer patients in Europe for the work that we did in relation to the European Cancer Patient Bill of Rights. And here we are here on the left-hand side in the European Parliament, launching the Bill of Rights on World Cancer Day, and then at the European Health Forum Gastein, accepting the European Health Award. And the other thing that I really want to emphasize too, science and genetics has changed a lot as is cancer research. And we now use a lot of data and data-driven insights and intelligence to really understand what cancer is, how it develops, how we can detect it earlier, how we can treat it better, how we can ensure better quality of life for patients. This is Philip Dunn, who is one of the best postdocs I've ever had working with me. He's now a member of staff, a senior lecturer in the Patrick G. Johnson Centre for Cancer Research, where we both work. And this is just some of the work that he did that has really changed our understanding of colorectal cancer or bowel cancer. And we've used artificial intelligence approaches that really allowed us to define a new molecular classification for the disease, and also very critically identify patients who could either benefit or be harmed by particular therapies. So again, translating the knowledge, the discovery science into benefit for patients. And then the world changed, as we all know. For me, it was actually very personal. My uncle died of a COVID-related illness on the 29th of March 2000. And one of my colleagues in Croatia, while reaching out to me to sympathize with me on my loss, asked me this really cutting question. He said, I'm really worried because in Croatia, people are fearing a COVID-19 diagnosis worse than a cancer diagnosis. That really worried me. And then I said, well, is this right or not? Is there any data out there to tell us whether that is the case or not? And so what we did was we set up the first program in the United Kingdom to actually look at the impact of COVID on cancer. And what we found was very scary. We found that 7 out of 10 individuals who had suspicious symptoms, suspicious of cancer, were not being seen by specialist cancer services because of the pandemic. 4 out of 10 cancer patients were not receiving their chemotherapy at the correct time. We were asked then to lead a European study in this regard with the European Cancer Organization. And we found really some very worrying trends. The first thing, 100 million missed cancer screening tests. Also, as many as 1 million Europeans may be walking around with a cancer that they don't know about. And also the impact on health workers, on doctors, on nurses, on physiotherapists, etc. 4 out of 10 health workers completely burned out. And one of the messages that we've really used, and we've used it at a public level, is to say, don't let cancer become the forgotten sea in the fight against COVID. And this work has received national, international attention and impact, and has also recently received the prestigious Royal College of Physicians Excellent in Patient Care Award. So this just shows you that by using data-driven insights, you can really find out things that help you in terms of changing the world, changing what is happening, addressing the challenges that we face. And this is really important. You want to ask questions that are important, that actually matter to people. And that's very much been how we've worked over the last 10 to 15 years. The other thing is, Are we at the top table? Yes, we are. But it's only by working collaboratively right across the world that we can do this. One of the things that was set up 21 years ago this year is the Northern Ireland US National Cancer Institute Cancer Consortium. US National Cancer Institute is one of the best institutes for cancer research and cancer care in the world. And the work that's been done over the last 21 years has actually shown now that Ireland and Northern Ireland are now firmly embedded on the global cancer research map, as Bill Dahoud said recently, who's the clinical director of the NCI. And here we are with the director of the NCI and senior leadership to look to see how can we actually drive better collaboration forward, and how can we work on what we would call an all-island cancer moonshot. And because of this work, because of the work of the last 21 years, we've now had a historic day, just the 16th of March, so the day before Paddy's Day this year, where our Minister for Health in Ireland, Stephen Donnelly, his equivalent in Northern Ireland, Robin Swan, and Norman Sharpless, who's the US director of the US National Cancer Institute, have signed a memorandum of understanding to continue that work together so that we can really compete not against each other, but against our common enemy, which is cancer. So cancer knows no borders, so neither should we. And I was particularly pleased to hear the new president, Joe Biden, say that he recognized as well this partnership, this all-island cancer consortium was so important. And he really looks forward to us working together. And just in that regard, as I finish my presentation, we've been very lucky. I set up a program in the last 3 years in relation to looking at how we can actually have students from Queen's University Belfast do their PhD in the National Cancer Institute in Washington. And they do a master's in Queen's, and then they go to do their PhD and work in the best labs in the world and get exposure to all sorts of new technologies, new ideas. And it really is a super experience. And what I'm going to do now is hand you over to 3 of those students who are out there in the NCI doing their PhDs, so you can hear what they've learned over the last 2 to 3 years.
My name is Alice Brown. I'm part of the doctoral training program and currently based in Washington, D.C. for the past 7 months. The doctoral training program is an amazing opportunity for upcoming researchers who really want to build their career and excel. The National Institute of Health campus in DC is one of the largest research facilities and usually doesn't offer PhD positions to students, except through rare partnership opportunities such as this doctoral training program, in order to build international cancer research relations. It enabled me to tailor a project around my interest and pursue research specifically in an area I was passionate about, the tumour microenvironment and cancer metastasis, outside the constraints of funding requirements like many other programs. This program lays a great foundation to develop key skills to succeed, including independent thinking, critical analysis, and access to cutting-edge technology. I've been incredibly fortunate to be mentored by the extremely talented paediatric oncologist Dr. Rosandria Kaplan, who was the first to describe the pre-metastatic niche, and she nourishes my personal development in conjunction with the needs of her research lab. I am part of the Paediatric Oncology branch in the NIH, in one of the largest clinical research hospitals in the world. Although there are numerous independent research groups in the branch, it feels like a community sharing information and skills, working towards a common goal. Being based at this hospital also allows access to accurate clinical data, as well as witnessing firsthand the inspirational stories of the patients and the benefit of the work we do. My research focuses on the development of genetically engineered mesenchymal stem cell therapy that targets the tumour-associated extracellular matrix, and currently Dr. Kaplan's lab has 2 clinical trials running, with a third in the process of beginning, so it's a real clinically translational environment I'm in. I feel very fortunate to be part of a program that not only will equip me with the advanced skills I need to have a successful career, but foster a relationship with research groups based here in America and developing lasting networks with globally based scientists.
Hello, I'm Lee, and I'm just about to finish my first year of the research portion of the Queen's University Belfast /NCI Joint Doctoral Training Programme. My research is in data science, analysing time series data of cancer and other diseases such as COVID-19. Already, the programme has given me so many great opportunities. I have been paired with 2 amazing supervisors at the NIH and Queen's, who have both taken a hands-on approach to helping me with my research and career. There are a lot of different working groups to join at the NIH, which is a great way to learn about and contribute to different types of science. The NIH organises a lot of interesting speakers to come in and talk about their research and careers. There are also loads of free courses we can take to help improve our writing, presentation skills, and much more. It's been an amazing opportunity so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
My name is Tamara, and I'm a graduate student on the QUB NCI Doctoral Trainer Programme. I'm supervised by Dr. Mira Murgai within the Laboratory of Cancer Biology and Genetics on the Bethesda campus of the National Institutes of Health, and my research is investigating the role of perivascular cells in pre-metastatic niche formation. Metastasis is one of the leading causes of cancer-related deaths, and so we are interested in understanding how tumour-derived signals can reprogram the normal tissue microenvironment in a way that's favourable to tumour cell survival, with the aim of identifying changes that we can target therapeutically to prevent or improve the treatment of metastatic disease. Performing my graduate research at the NCI has been very enjoyable and a great learning experience. We have been given a unique opportunity to be involved in cutting-edge science and also to become part of a large community of fellow graduate students from all around the world. The collaborative experiences, mentorship and transferable skills I'm gaining during my time on this programme will undoubtedly be advantageous for my future career.
Thank you very much. So really you've heard from three of our students and really the huge opportunities they've had. And this is really important. That's why this NCI All-Ireland initiative is so important as well. I'm now going to introduce Elizabeth Summersby, who's an advanced nurse practitioner in Our Lady's Hospital of Lourdes, to speak to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Fantastic to hear. Thanks very much, Professor Lawler, for handing over to me. First of all, I'm a nurse. So I've always wanted to do nursing from I was very young. And I did my general nursing qualified in 1991. And then when I travelled for a little bit, I decided I wanted to get into cancer nursing. So I did my postgraduate in cancer nursing after traveling to Australia and New Zealand and working in some of the big hospitals, particularly in Auckland in New Zealand and also in Australia. And I also worked in the Middle East. So I came back to Ireland in 2001 with my postgrad in cancer care. And from then on, I went and I did my master's in advanced practice. And so that really led me to look at where did I want to specialise further within cancer care delivery. And I suppose the options are huge. Really deciding on whether I wanted to do clinical, hands-on medical oncology, you know, giving chemotherapy, looking after patients on a day-to-day, or whether I wanted to specialise in radiation oncology, or even I was interested in certainly in clinical trial work. So eventually I have been working in Drogheda since 2001, and I became a registered advanced nurse practitioner in 2018. So that meant I specialised in medical oncology, meaning looking after patients who are receiving chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and all of the targeted therapies that we've actually heard, really, I suppose, from Professor Lawler and his team, who are, you know, doing all the hands-on research that translates into what we actually deliver on a clinical day-to-day in our day wards and our inpatient settings across the world, not just in Ireland, but across the world. I've also been involved in translational research, which is really basic research that's also translated into how we care for our patients. For example, even during the COVID-19 pandemic, I worked with a consultant who works with the RCSI, and so we looked at breath tests among lung cancer patients and the interpretation of COVID among these patients. We also have been involved in looking at ovarian cancer patients and trying to test their tissues and bloods for particular indicators of whether their disease is progressing or not. So these are in addition to kind of day-to-day chemotherapies and the targeted treatments that we give on a daily basis. From a nursing perspective, it's really a rewarding job. I love advanced practice. Advanced practice, I've specialised in bowel cancer, breast cancer, and gynae cancers. So it's fairly broad. So on a day-to-day, I work independently, but I also work collaboratively with the consultants. So on every second Thursday, I have an independent breast clinic. So I'd see up on 10, 15 patients with breast cancer and look at their treatments, follow-ups, survivorship, etc. I'm also involved in research. I'm currently working with the Health Research Board and the National Cancer Control Programme, which is really the advisory body for cancer care delivery in Ireland. And I'm studying at the moment, looking at developing a guideline for patients who are breast cancer patients who are receiving anti-hormone treatment. Because I suppose we have a lot of treatments, but the side effect profile for our patients is huge. And my job is really trying to improve the patient's quality of life, the patient experience, and also we're continuing to work alongside our partners in medicine, science, across the research continuum to promote and improve outcomes. And that's why we're all here. And what I'd say to you is, and I echo what Alicia Brennan, Professor Lawler, everyone who's been really on today, is it's a huge area. Cancer care is an amazing area to work in because it's very dynamic, it's very changing all the time. As a nurse, people kind of think, oh, what do nurses do? Nurses are probably crucial in the hands-on delivery of cancer care, but we have behind us a big multidisciplinary team, and it's very much a collaboration from the cell bench in the science lab to the chemos and the immunotherapies that we hang on in the day wards, and then I'm very lucky in that I see my the cohorts that I look after, and I'm able to hopefully make a difference in their outcomes and their experience. Sometimes you can't change the outcome, but you can definitely change the experience, and that's been a hugely rewarding part of my role as well. Plus, I suppose cancer nursing is hugely opportunity, as in, you need to take your opportunities, and Professor Lawler alluded to that. I got an opportunity to go to MD Anderson. I was there in 2019, and I spent 6 weeks over there in a clinical placement, and it was absolutely amazing to work alongside. I worked in the research areas, also focusing then in the clinical areas. I had 2 weeks of clinical placement, and amazing to see kind of the impact that the research actually has in one of the big cancer centres in the world. So I would say, nursing, cancer nursing in particular, is hugely beneficial and is really, I started off generally and then was able to specialise, and there's so many areas to focus on as well. And I suppose finally what I'd say to people is, enjoy nursing is a fantastic career. I've made friends from when I did my general nursing to cancer nursing, and I think we all want the best for our patients. None of us do these kind of jobs unless you actually really want to make a difference for patient outcomes and patient care. So I would say enjoy, make the decisions. You don't need to kind of map it out for too far, because sometimes you'll get drawn into something that really takes, you have an interest in, and it can lead on to fantastic things. And I've been hugely lucky. So that's it. I would say enjoy the rest of the afternoon. I'm really enjoying the day, and best of luck to each and every one of you. Sorry, I forgot. Sorry, Reem. I would like to introduce everybody. It was very remiss of me to introduce Dr. Reem Salman, who I know personally and is a fantastic surgeon and such a huge asset to women who undergo breast cancer. So handing you over now to Dr. Reem Salman.
Thank you, Liz, and welcome everyone. And I enjoyed the afternoon myself very much, and I hope this is a first step for you to enjoy the medical field. I was asked to talk about my experience on how I became a breast surgeon here in Ireland. I'm a young woman that started, I'm born in Iraq, in the capital Baghdad many years ago. And then my mom was a doctor, my father was an economist, and I went through secondary school. Like yourself, by the age of my late teens, I have to decide what I want to do. And it came into the CAO form that we have to fill. And at that time, I wanted, as a woman with the Middle Eastern background, to have a family and to pursue a career that definitely I will be able to have many children and I will be working from home. And then I decided I'm going to do architect. My father was with me filling the CAA form, and he said, "Why don't you put medicine as your first choice? Your mom is a doctor." And I was like, No, I don't want to do 6 years of medicine. That's too long. And then I don't want to be spending nights in hospital where I want to be having a family. And then, cut it short, medicine was the first choice on the form, and the second one was the architect. Went through a leaving cert, and I happened that I achieved a quite high mark. I was the third in the country, and well, medicine was my career. And I started medicine with the promise that I'm going to be a doctor looking after my family, and I will be a general practitioner, not anymore. And then the years comes, a war started in Iraq, and for any reason I have to leave medicine after I have finished 4 years of medicine there. And I went to the United States and I started doing a pre-med in Texas. It was interesting to do science in there, and yet I felt, no, I spent 4 years in medicine, I want to do medicine. So then I moved to Ireland and I went to UCD, done my medical school there, and I graduated with the plan that I'm going to be a pathologist because I want to do my dream, which is to have a family and have a quiet life. And no offense to pathologists. And then did a master in medical science and pathology, and my professor there, he said, Reem, you are so good in face-to-face communicating to patient. I don't think pathology will be your career. You will be very bored in doing pathology. And I was like, oh my God, what I'm going to do? So I decided to go to A&E because medicine has a lot of opportunity and different specialty, and you can go and exposed to anyone until you find the right one. At that stage, I knew I want to continue with medicine, and I went and did the A&E job, which is accident and emergency, and that was a 6 months contract to find out what I want to do. Is it medicine or surgery? At that stage, it was a pure decision, surgery, what I want to do. I couldn't face the medical patient. I went to surgery and I was lucky to start through my basic surgical training. And that is an opportunity with the RCSI. You go exposed to different specialty. And at that stage, I said, okay, I'm doing surgery. I really feel that when I went through my training and I have served in a few country hospitals, the countryside hospitals, and at that stage I felt there were loads of women who were offered nothing but a mastectomy. And also there was a lot of people arrived at a quite late stage in their disease purely because at that stage in the 90s, all the breast surgeons, they were general surgeons in this country, and basically women didn't want to be examined by a male surgeon. And I thought, this is a mentality of the Middle East, not here modern Europe. Yet we went and I decided I'll do breast surgery. I was privileged to work with a lot of mentors in this country that made me exposed to different modality of treating breast surgery. It was the start of a treatment of a breast cancer became a multidisciplinary approach. It's not the surgeon decide on their own what surgery or what treatment this patient will have. At that time, I was involved in doing a research with NUI Galway, and I had a few opportunity, which is I was trained in reconstruction in Italy. The world is your oyster. You can choose where you want. The important thing is you get the right mentors. With that in mind, is just I wanted to tell you about a few things. What I graduated with, and basically at that time women were having mastectomy in the majority. Reconstruction was rarely offered. The treatment, women before they even leave the ward, they were put on hormone tablets such as tamoxifen for everyone. What we are practicing now, which is 20 years from my graduation, is completely different. Now is a personal approach, is basically a treatment that is specified for different type of cancers, depend on their biomarkers, and where we are is basically the outcome of the research, the clinical trials, what we heard from scientists and geneticists this morning, and also we should not forget is the patient whom they volunteer to join these clinical trials, which is with their support, we are where we are having personalized medicine. So today, what I do is 15% is the maximum of a mastectomy in my cancer treatment for patient. I work in a unit that we treat 400 cancers in a year, and we are seeing more and more of survivals. And the survival is a combination of the treatment, but also a combination of the awareness, the prevention, the good approach of healthy lifestyle, the support we get from the multidisciplinary, the nurses, they are specializing in breast care. Also, the psychologists, we have an onco-psychologist who is specializing how to deal, the counseling that the patient get. So what I wanted to tell you today, that the journey of medicine is a 1,000-mile journey. Start with the first step, which you all joined today is your first step to go follow your passion. Also, I wanted to tell you that nothing comes easy. There are sacrifices. Everything is hard. It takes time. The dedication, the sacrifices, the important to pursue your dream. There is so many things changed in medicine. This time you heard a music teacher became a doctor. That is because we need to go to this specialty with a passion. Also, I have to say that it is very important to make a balance in your life. You think if you become a female surgeon, there is no other life except your career. I'm fortunate that I have a very understanding husband. I have a family with the kids, and I try to do the balance of a healthy lifestyle with the busy career. The other thing is what I wanted to do, and maybe this is in a way focus for the female. You have to listen to your biological clock. You can start your family and you can study at the same time. And I wanted to just put a last slide before we finish. Closing a slide, I'm going to share the screen. Now, life is like a camera. Yes, I hope you see that. Life is like a camera. Just focus on what's important. Capture the good times and look at the positive in your life. If you don't get medicine on the first run, we heard today that you can have it on the second choice. Develop from the negative. I always do not say I failed to do that. I just say learn from your past lessons, not your failures. And if things don't turn out, just take another shot. Thank you. So I'll leave you back with Kieran.
I think you've heard from all of us really the opportunities, but also the enthusiasm that we all have for this area of cancer research and cancer care. And hopefully we've enthused you so that you want to consider a career in this area. And we're certainly very happy, and we're already getting some questions in the chat, but I'd encourage you to send us more. I'd just like to end this session by talking a little bit about a new initiative that both Kieran and myself and a number of people on the call are involved in, and that's the development of an all-Ireland Cancer Research Institute. We talked earlier about how Ireland and Northern Ireland working together can be much greater than the sum of the parts, and this is an excellent example. So I'm just going to introduce a video in relation to this, which has been narrated by my colleague, Professor William Gallagher from University College Dublin, and also patient advocate and a good colleague of mine, Margaret Grayson.
On the island of Ireland, 1 in 2 people on average will develop cancer during their lifetime. People's lives change overnight. A cancer diagnosis brings huge worry and anxiety, not only to patients, but their families also. We want to help patients live longer and better lives after their cancer diagnosis. We will connect cancer researchers across the island of Ireland.
We will work alongside patients with cancer to make sure that their voice is heard. By coming together, we can harness all of our different skills and expertise to better understand cancer, to develop more personalised treatment options, to ease suffering and to save lives.
This is our vision for the All-Ireland Cancer Research Institute.
We will work hard to uncover better diagnostics and treatments for patients with cancer.
We will learn more about preventing cancer, as well as tackle key issues related to living with and beyond cancer.
We will become a global leader in cancer research, and as a result, we will give much needed hope to patients with cancer and their families.
Please join us in our mission.
Into that session, and it was so enlightening and insightful. So far, you've heard of the different possible medical careers combating cancer that may be of interest to you, be it in a hospital or in a science lab. In our next segment, you will hear from guidance counsellors from North and South. They will introduce a number of pathways to third level education in the field. We're delighted to have join us Gemma Byrne, who is guidance counsellor in St Oliver's Community College, Drogheda, my alma mater, and Katrina Donoghue is a guidance counsellor in St Mary's Grammar School, Maherafelt. Please take the opportunity in advance of our panel and Q&A session to submit any particular questions you may have, and we'll do our best to address them.
Hello, my name is Gemma Byrne, and I'm here to talk to you about medicine and healthcare courses that are available for you to study in Ireland. I work as a guidance counsellor in St Oliver's Community College in Drogheda, County Louth. So there are a number of different courses available throughout the country if you're interested in a career in medicine or healthcare. So for medicine courses to study to be a medical doctor, there are 5 courses. 3 of them are in Dublin, and 1 in Cork and 1 in Galway. So we have the Royal College of Surgeons, University College Dublin and Trinity in Dublin, and we have University College Cork and University College Galway. All of those offering courses over 5 or 6 years in medicine. Then for nursing, we have 47 courses spread throughout the length and breadth of the country, and those 47 courses cover 4 different types of nursing, 5 different types of nursing: general nursing, children's nursing, midwifery, intellectual disability nursing, and mental health nursing. We also have then the other medical professions: physiotherapy, 4 of them; occupational therapy, 3 courses also in pharmacy, 2 in radiography or radiotherapy, and 1 course in paramedics. There are a wide range of different science courses available throughout the country. We've 325 of them on offer on the CAO system in all corners of Ireland. And often science courses are used as a foundation to then go into work in medicine or in healthcare. So from a science degree, you can do a postgraduate that specialises you in something in healthcare, or work on a medical team in the healthcare industry or area. So just talking about some entry requirements for college, medicine, the first one, and it has a minimum of 480 CAO points and a HPAT exam. A HPAT exam is an aptitude test that is carried out in the February of your Leaving Cert year. Or for some students who wish to do their Leaving Cert 1 year and apply for medicine the following year, they can then apply to do the HPAT the following February. But you have to apply through the CAO, get your CAO number, and then register in order to be able to do the HPAT. And then for medicine, you need to have 6 passes in your Leaving Cert: English, Irish, and Maths, a science subject. And then for 4 out of the 5 courses, you need to have a third language. So for most schools, this would be French, Spanish, or German. That's maybe taught in the school curriculum. For other students who maybe speak other European languages at home, like Russian or Polish or Lithuanian or Latvian, there's a list of over 14 of them that you can sit a Leaving Cert exam, and that will qualify you for your third language. You also need Garda clearance and medical clearance. And for anybody who's thinking of doing this, I just strongly encourage them to check out the specific course requirements of the different colleges and courses to make sure that, that they matriculate and are able to apply. For nursing, then you need to pass 6 subjects in your Leaving Cert again. Maths, English, or Irish, and the science is required. And then for science courses, 6 passes again, and a science subject is necessary. So long as you do 1 science subject for your Leaving Cert, you can then go into college and you can specialise in another science subject from there. But in order to gain entry to any science course in a college or university in Ireland, you need to have done at least 1 science subject for your Leaving Cert. So just check that out in detail yourself before you apply. Once you matriculate and you're doing the right subjects, then the CAO points come into play. And the points change year to year depending on the popularity and the demand for a particular course. Nursing, I know this year did take, there was a significant increase in a number of the nursing courses this year because demand for places on those courses has gone up. There's also the opportunity to study and prepare yourself for a career in a medical area or the healthcare area by starting off with a post-Leaving certificate course. So these courses are available in post-Leaving cert colleges in most major towns and cities in the country. They're generally 1-year or 2-year courses, and they serve as either a foundation for going on to a university or a college to get a degree, or to go directly into the workforce. So in relation to science courses that might prepare you for working in the healthcare area, there are 37 pre-university science courses on offer through the post-Leaving cert courses in the country. There are laboratory technician courses, there are pre-university nursing courses, and there are healthcare assistant courses. There's a possible progression into degree courses from all of these courses. I just would caution you that it's very competitive, and there's very limited number of places for people graduating from the pre-nursing course and pre-nursing courses in Ireland. However, there are good routes from here into colleges to train in nursing in the UK. In order to qualify to study for a post-Leaving cert course, you need to pass 5 subjects in your Leaving cert, or you need to pass your Leaving cert applied, and there's generally an interview then carried out to see if you're a suitable candidate for the course. So just to recap, there's hundreds of opportunities out there for anybody who wants to progress a career in the medical area, and there's possibilities through post-Leaving cert colleges and through technical universities and colleges. Just to consider, a science subject for Leaving cert is almost essential for all of the courses that I have listed here today. Do your research and find out what it is, the specific requirements. Some courses may require a certain grade in biology or a certain grade in maths. So just know the course that you're interested in and what the special requirements for that one are. And talk to your guidance counsellors, talk to your teachers, find out find out what opportunities are there for you, what your subjects in school can lead you on to do then in college and in the world of work. And also, if possible, and this is probably one of the most important things, to talk to students and people who are in college and people who are working in the area. Sometimes the idea that we have in our head about what a career involves and what it actually involves are quite different. So by talking to people who work in the area or who are studying in the area, it can help you to decide whether that is the job or the career path that you want for you. And finally, I'd just like to say to believe in yourself and, aim high. If you see yourself working in a career in medicine or in the healthcare profession, it can be a very worthwhile career and can help to improve people's lives. And from people who work there, they love it and they get a lot of job satisfaction from it. So I'd like to thank you for your time. I'll be available later for questions and answers if anybody has any. And I'd like to wish you well in school and in your decision making for college or your career. Thank you. So thank you for that. I'd like to now hand you over to Katrina, and just to remind you that if you have any questions and answers, to type them in now as the question and answer session is coming up, and we'll do our best to answer them. So thank you, and over to Katrina.
Hello everybody, my name is Katrina and I'm here today to tell you a little bit about careers in health from a Northern Ireland UK student's perspective. On this slide, what we see is examples of a number of careers that are open to you in the health sector. Those at the top are much more patient facing, you're working directly with patients, whereas those at the bottom are careers whereby you're still contributing greatly to the health service, but perhaps in a more indirect manner, perhaps through the delivery of vaccination or through treatment. As a young 18-year-old, you will be applying to university. UK universities work through UCAS. UCAS gives you 5 choices, and if applying for medicine, 4 of those choices can be for 4 medical schools. It is a very competitive application, the first stage being that you have to sit a selection test, the UCAT and or the BMAT. And it's important to check each of your selected universities to see which they use. After that, you complete a personal statement in which you outline why you're particularly motivated to study medicine, your insights into the career, and how you are working to develop your skills and attributes. If successful, you are then invited to an interview, an MMI interview. This is multiple mini interviews, often which are testing skills and attributes of a doctor. Medicine is a 5-year degree programme. There is a variety of teaching styles at the different universities and indeed a variety in the curriculum structure. It's important for you in your research to check all universities and find the 4 that are best fit for you. Knowledge of the NHS values and the GCMC guidelines of tomorrow's doctors are also very useful for both interview and personal statement. In terms of subjects, you need to be studying A-level chemistry and biology. Some universities will accept biology to at least AS level, whereas others will ask you to study it to A2. Please do check each individual university's website. The grades that you are asked for as an aspiring medical student is between A* and 2 A's to 3 A's in your A-level. Here are some useful websites for you to help you in your research. The Medical School Council provides excellent information about the skills and attributes of the doctor. It outlines examples of virtual work experience for those who have had issues with COVID-19 preventing access to hospitals. The Medic Portal is a great source of information with regard to all the UK-based universities, what they're looking for in terms of UCAT, what they are looking for in terms of grades, etc., as well as guidance on UCAT prep, personal statement, and interview prep. Ideally, you need to check each individual university carefully because those are the websites that are updated first and have the most accurate information for you. So what do you need to do at this stage? As a Year 13 student, ensure that you have chosen the correct A-level subjects. As a Year 12, ensure that you Pick the right A-level subjects. Don't forget to check the GCSE requirements. It's important to check some of the subjects required at GCSE and indeed the grades. Some universities use GCSEs as part of their selection process. Start looking into research and gain an insight into this profession. Talk to doctors, medical students, complete virtual work experience. And through your voluntary work, start to develop your key skills and your qualities. Voluntary work can take many forms, within school and outside of school. It's all about starting to develop those skills and qualities to show your caring nature and how you're giving back to your local community. A healthcare career is so fulfilling, and there are so many pathways that you can go into. Medicine that I've talked about is just one, but we could also talk about nursing, about allied health therapies, paramedics, etc. Those are all patient-facing roles. But very much scientists play a pivotal role in our healthcare sector. It is they who are the explorers. They are going into exploring new frontiers and helping, searching for new cures, new vaccines, new technological advancements, anything that can help improve patients' lives and quality of life, and indeed to help and support our medical teams and our nursing teams. To pick one as an example, I have picked biomedical science. At Queen's University, you can study biomedical science in a 3-year degree programme with chemistry and biology A-level plus a third. You don't necessarily need both, either biology or chemistry, but if you're only offering one, you will need to provide a second science. And we have here, taken from the website, the list of acceptable second sciences. So as a year 12 student, it's important to see, are you picking the right subjects? As I said, biomedical scientists, we are indebted to them for their determination and focus on working for new treatments and new vaccines. A very, very important role. You can also go into graduate medicine with a science degree. We have just opened this year the Magee the new graduate medicine program. I hope from the speakers today and from this brief summary that you can see that a career in health is very exciting. It is a career that offers many opportunities to travel, for personal development, and so many opportunities for everybody's different strengths. My advice to you is, as you begin this journey, take time to liaise with your careers departments in school to ensure that you are covering all the bases and to get their support and guidance. Start your research, gain an insight into this exciting career that you want to join. Look at developing your skills and your qualities. It can sometimes be a bit of a bumpy road because it's so competitive. However, persevere, and all being well, it will all come good and you will enter this exciting career. I wish you all the very best in your exams and in your research. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both Gemma and Katrina. Really useful information for everybody who's on this webinar. I'm going to invite Catherine also, or Elizabeth also, to come back in. And I may pull in other members of the panel as well based on some of the questions that are coming in. So keep your questions coming in, but I'm just going to start with some of the questions that have already come in. And actually this one, Neil, if you wouldn't mind taking this question because it relates to what you said earlier. Would a degree in biochemistry be a good route into this kind of career, or could it be too specific, or is it better to just do biology or biomedical science?
Yeah, so definitely biochemistry would be great. Like biochemistry gives you a great grounding both in biology, how cells work, but in order to do a biochemistry degree, you always in first year will do biology, chemistry, physics, maths. You'll get a good grounding. There's a lot of different biochemistry courses, like the one in Trinity College. First years they do a huge mix of different courses. So it'll give you a great grounding for going into cancer research or whatever kind of medical research you'd be interested in.
Thanks very much, Neil. Second question here, I'll actually take this one myself. What kind of work experience might be useful to aid in getting into a career in cancer research? There are lots of opportunities in terms of, particularly in transition year. For example, my own daughter, who's now in third year and doing molecular immunology in Trinity, would have done a placement in Beaumont Hospital in one of the cancer research labs there. So really reach out and ask. Some of the programs are also very much organised. My daughter also did one in biochemistry and immunology in Trinity, where there are organised programs for transition. So really look at those opportunities, but don't be afraid to approach different laboratories and ask. There are lots of opportunities in relation to that. Just another question then from Sinead Heaney. What advice would you give to students hoping to study medicine and handling the stress and pressure of schools and exams? Reem, would you be able to take that one? If not, I can take it. Okay, I'll take that. I mean, I think it's a question of balance. I think, you need to balance, the time you spend studying, but also have some outside activities, and they may be sports activities, leisure activities, listening to music, reading books. So I think you need to find that balance. Yes, it is challenging in both the systems in Ireland and Northern Ireland. But I think, trying to find that balance is really important. And if you can do that, that really can help you in relation to, getting that balance right. So you do the study, but you also have a sort of a pressure gas in terms of release that allows you to relax as well. So it's trying to find that balance, really life study balance is really important. Then a second question here, as we know, if you want to be a doctor, then you have to pass 6 years of study. And my question is how not to get demotivated easily. Again, I think you've heard from a number of our speakers in relation to this. It's, don't be afraid of failure. Everybody, failure is actually a good thing because you learn from that, and then you actually grow in relation to that and you become better. So sometimes it might be a scenario that, in college, an exam that perhaps you fail, maybe the first exam you've ever failed in your life. Don't worry about that. That's the norm. And it's how you then respond to that and make sure that you then step back up to the plate again. But don't worry about that. That's part and parcel of your growth as you go through college. What typical hours do cancer researchers work? From Charlotte. Neil, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So yeah, the hours can vary. In fairness, we do try and have a bit more of a modern approach. Try to stick to kind of a 9 to 5 and that, and like with kind of teaching hours and that, it'd stay between that. But it sometimes depends on the experiment. Our cancer cells don't always go by our own schedule. You can end up kind of late nights or early mornings. But including then, you could have travel, you could have some weekend work and that. But people can kind of make their own schedule after a while. It's a fairly flexible kind of timetable.
Okay, thanks very much. Next question from Emma. I guess this is for either Gemma or Katrina. Can we mention this open day in personal statements?
Yeah, for Blind in Northern Ireland, I think absolutely anything that you have to show that you've done your research and that you're making an informed choice, I will be putting into the personal statement. So like attending this open day, as many open days, and getting as much experience, and then listing that, noting it, and putting your case forward. So Katrina, I'm sure you'd...
I would agree completely, Gemma. And also the UK universities are very aware that with COVID, it has been very difficult to find work experience, and many of them actually have stated on their medical web pages that attendance of online events, virtual work experiences, all of these are deemed to be suitable to put down as work-related learning, showing that you are actively looking to gain an insight into the career.
I'm just following up on personal statements from Aaron Boyd. What do you look for in the personal statement?
Again, it's very much tailored to each university. It's really important once you decide in the UCAS system on your final 4 that you go to the the medical pages of each of those universities, you look very carefully to see, do they give you indicators as to what they would like you to include in your personal statement? Some of them also say that they don't score the personal statement. Universities such as Cade University has a separate form called Roles and Responsibilities, as does Manchester University as well. And that gives an opportunity to give in more detail. What do you have done to learn more about the career and so on? As some of the universities felt that the 4,000 characters could be quite limiting, but really it's very important to check each individual university. Many of them are very good at giving clear ideas of what they would like in their structure.
Thanks very much. Here's a question, actually. One of the things I was going to say, obviously, there are opportunities for people from Ireland to come to Queen's, for example. We have quite a number of Republic of Ireland students. And just the question here, again, I guess for you, Katrina, does needing 6 Leaving Cert subjects mean if a Northern Ireland student wishes to apply for Southern University that they need 6 A levels? And similarly, the other way around. So maybe both yourself and Gemma could answer the question for either Irish students wanting to take courses in Northern Ireland or Northern Ireland students want to take courses in Ireland.
Well, I know that for students from the north who would like to apply down south, the universities down south, they have entry requirements for students from the north of Ireland. They do have to sit the HPAT Ireland exam, and then it is their 3 A levels, and if they've done a 4th A level or have they done a 4th AS, and it's their scores are added together like the Leaving Cert students. And as far as I'm aware, with regard to the UK universities, again, on the entry requirements page, there's a separate section for Leaving Cert students where they talk about the terms of the offer for Leaving Cert students, also International Baccalaureate, all the different types of qualifications that are available and taught in different types of schools. It's important just to check each university entry requirements page carefully.
Thanks very much, Katrina. Here's another question. I'll take this one. Would medicine be a good degree choice for those interested in medical research, or would it be more beneficial to do something like biomedical science? I think the great thing is that both are opportunities. So in terms of, and you've sort of heard from a number of us in relation to, I as you know, did a degree in genetics, as I said. And so there are 2 different pathways into doing research. One is through the sort of more science biomedical based. The other is through more the medicine based. And just to give you an example, as well as that program that I mentioned in relation to the doctoral training program with the National Cancer Institute in Washington, and that's for science qualified graduates. We also have a similar program for clinical qualified graduates with Princess Margaret Cancer Centre in Toronto. And so really it's you can get into it through both routes. So it's not one route only. So both have opportunities, which is, I think, important to realise. Sorry, just going down. Where should I apply with the lower UCAT scores? And then in brackets 2490, I've looked at different websites and I've got varying answers. I'm not sure whether people can take that. Is there a particular answer to that, or maybe we can follow up?
The UCAT score varies year on year. Last Friday, on the UCAT website, the interim report would have been out, which gives a sense of how candidates who have scored so far, how they have performed. Some universities are very open in terms of sharing with applicants what they would have, how they use the UCAT score. Others, it will be very much dependent on those who apply to the university. It is very, very difficult. And when we talk about facing hurdles and disappointments, sometimes a UCAT score can be that. But all we can do is do our research and be sure that that we are applying to, that we're happy, that we have maybe in our personal statement, we have met the requirements there, and we hope that it's sufficient. It may not, but then we also have alternative routes. We may decide to take a gap year to reapply, or we may decide as our 5th choice to have the degree, for example, in biomedical science, and go then the graduate route. So whilst it's disappointing, it's important to investigate each of the universities carefully and be aware that there are other ways that we can maybe still get into medicine.
Okay, Thank you very much. Elizabeth, this one for you. I'm a transition year student from Meath. What would be the best place for me to get hands-on working experience, either in medicine or also in nursing?
It's difficult to get experience currently, but certainly apply to places like Our Lady of Lourdes. You have to go into the human resource department, and they are taking students, but it's on a much scaled back now, just with COVID. But I think most of the hospitals in the region are taking students. But it's been a slow process, and I know it's just got really back up and running at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much indeed.
Can I just add to that?
Yeah, perfect.
Just to look out and see what the colleges are offering. The Royal College of Surgeons have a med week for TY students. They might have drop-in days for, that they organise for to give students exposure. Particularly in TY, they have some programmes made out for them. So just to check them out yourself, and also to talk to your TY coordinator about that.
Super, that's great. Thanks very much indeed. And just here's a question from Grace. I'm choosing my A-levels within the coming months, as well as picking biology and chemistry. What other subjects will be the most beneficial for medicine?
Chemistry and the biology are the two essential. And thereafter, because you're looking for potentially 3 A's in your A-level, a subject that is one of your strengths, and maybe something that you like, something that you enjoy, but a subject that is ultimately going to help you get that 3rd A, because it is so competitive, you need the 3 A's.
Is there learning support in college? I think the answer to that is yes, and there are different learning supports for different requirements. Because my second daughter is just starting in college at the moment, and certainly there are a wide range of supports that are available. Do you have any recommendations for academic reading for medicine? Obviously there are quite a lot of good sort of general journals that can be, what we might do is maybe sort of send a list really to help you on that. But yes, certainly there is, and there's also there's a hospital there's a number of sort of magazines, Medical Times type magazines as well, that you might be interested in reading some of the articles on. I'm conscious we're nearly running out of time. Let me just see, can I pull out some of their questions? I mean, there are a number of questions in relation to COVID restrictions. The other thing is to look at opportunities for maybe getting sort of data science-based projects as well at the moment. And certainly there are opportunities in relation to that. I don't know whether Reem is still here. I'm very interested in going into pediatric surgery. How did the working hours look like each day? I'm not sure whether Reem is here. I think we may have to come back to you on that. If that's okay.
I am.
Oh, sorry, you are there, Reem. Sorry,
yes.
sorry. I'm judging between two different screens. Sorry.
No, you are okay. So for pediatric surgery, every surgery has certain hours. You just have to finish your basic surgical training and then join the senior or the specialty program in pediatric surgery. So her question was, is it longer hours, is it?
Yeah, or what are the hours like in terms of in general?
Well, surgery is surgery, so the hours is always longer.
Okay, and just and second question, just advice for somebody who wants to be a pediatric doctor.
To be a pediatrician, then you go through, after internship, you apply to the scheme of pediatric specialty in medicine, or you can do general medicine and then move into pediatric. But there is a pediatric training scheme after internship.
Just reading one final question then, just what would be the best path if you'd like to focus on going into the field of cardiology?
To be a cardiologist, then you go through general medicine and basic medicine scheme, and then you go into a cardiology specialty training, which is another 6 years program.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to, there's still a lot of questions, so maybe we may have some mechanism that we can actually follow up on some of those questions. I'm just conscious of time, but lots of really good questions, and we'll do our best. Is that okay, Kieran, that we can follow up on other questions directly to people?
If they'd like to direct their questions to info@necrete.ie, necret.ie, we'd be happy to connect in and get back to them if they wish. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure all the panel would be happy to take individual questions based on that. So if you just send them into, as Kieran said, we'll follow up with that. Okay, just conscious of time, so I'm just going to go into the sort of final session where we're just going to get a presentation from Anya Lynn, who's the Cancer Prevention Officer with the HSE, on something that's really important. So we've talked a lot about diagnosis and treatment of cancer, but also reducing cancer risk and prevention. And so we're now going to have a video from Anya, and then Kieran will do the closing statements.
Hi, my name's Anya. I'm a Cancer Prevention Officer working with the HSE's National Cancer Control Programme. I hope you're enjoying your All Ireland Schools Virtual Open Day, and thanks to the RCSI Queen's and the North East Cancer Research and Education Trust for inviting me to speak to you guys today. So I'm going to spend the next 4 or 5 minutes chatting to you about things that increase and decrease our cancer risk. We know that each person's risk of developing cancer is influenced by a wide range of factors, things we can control and things that we can't control. We can't control our age and our genetics, but we can control how much physical activity we're doing, how much alcohol we're drinking, the types of food we're eating, and are we protecting our skin from the sun. I'm hoping by the end of this chat, you'll have taken home one thing that you can do to reduce your cancer risk and one message that you can share with somebody else to support them to reduce their cancer risk. Now, there's a huge body of evidence out there with regards to what increases and decreases cancer risk. You've got research from the International Agency on Cancer, you've got the World Cancer Research Fund Continuous Update Project, and you've got the European Cancer League's Code for Cancer Prevention. We know that there's certain risk factors that affect certain cancers. So for example, breast cancer, alcohol and excess body weight increase risk, while physical activity and breastfeeding decrease risk of breast cancer. For bowel cancer, smoking, alcohol intake, excess body weight, eating red and processed meat increase risk, while if you eat whole grains and fiber and take part in physical activity, it decreases your risk of bowel cancer. For skin, exposure to the sun's ultraviolet rays and using sunbeds increase risk of skin cancer, while wearing sun protection and not using sunbeds decrease risk. So there's certain factors that are associated with certain cancers. So what can we do to reduce our risk of developing cancer in later life? Well, what will we do when we're young affects us when we're old. So what we do in our teenage years, our 20s and our 30s affects us later in life. I think this picture depicts it very well. It's a photo of a truck driver with 28 years of sun damage. On the right-hand side of his face, you can see that's the side that was exposed to the sun unprotected. That's the side that when he was driving, the sun was shining in the window. On the other side of his face is the side that wasn't as exposed to the sun. So you can see the skin damage that has been done by not protecting skin from the sun, and that it has an effect later in life. So just because you smoke a cigarette today, it doesn't mean that you develop lung cancer tomorrow. It takes time for these risk factors to have an effect. Therefore, what we're doing in our younger years has a massive effect on our quality of life in later years. So what can we do to reduce our risk of cancer? Skin cancer is probably the most common cancer in Ireland and in the UK, but yet it's one of the most preventable. Ultraviolet radiation from the sun and sunbed is the main risk factor. Look, we know that experiencing sunburn or skin damage or not protecting your skin from the sun when you're young, it increases risk of skin cancer later in life. Severe sunburn as a young person, so we're talking about 3 or more instances before the age of 20, is associated with 2 to 4 times higher risk of developing melanoma skin cancer as an adult. And there's things that we can do, simple steps to reduce our risk. You can slip on clothing that covers your skin, slap on sunscreen, so factor 30 plus for adults and 50 plus for children, slap on a wide brimmed hat, seek shade, and slide on sunglasses to protect your eyes. We can reduce our alcohol intake. So when we drink alcohol, what happens is it's converted into a toxic chemical called acetaldehyde. Alcohol increases the risk of 7 different types of cancer. So mouth, throat, breast, liver, bowel, esophageal, and pharynx. Acetaldehyde, it damages our DNA and stops our cells from repairing this damage. It weakens our body's ability to absorb nutrients. It increases the levels of certain hormones such as estrogen, which has a particular effect on risk of breast cancer. The duration of drinking and the age at which we start drinking are important determinants of risk. So the younger and the more we drink, the higher our risk of developing cancer later in life. For cancer prevention, it's best not to drink alcohol, but the less you drink, the lower your risk. The HPV vaccine, which I think many of you would have been offered in schools as a teenager, the HPV vaccine protects against the human papillomavirus. HPV is a virus that can cause a whole range of different cancers, including cervical, penis, mouth, and throat. By getting this vaccine, you're protected against the HPV vaccine, the HPV virus, and cancers that are related to this. The one that we all know about is don't smoke and avoid secondhand smoke. Tobacco contains chemicals that cause cancer. Tobacco includes cigarettes, roll your own, chewing tobacco pipes or cigars. It increases your risk of at least 15 types of cancer. We also know that secondhand tobacco smoke increases cancer risk. Now, I know you're all probably contemplating careers in oncology, so it's important to note that quitting smoking during cancer treatment is very important. If you quit smoking, it can reduce your treatment side effects, it can reduce your risk of infection, and it can also improve wound healing if your treatment involves surgery. It also decreases the risk of a recurrent cancer. Something that probably is not as well known is don't smoke and drink alcohol together. If you drink and smoke at the same time, alcohol acts as a solvent and eases the transfer of cancer-causing substances from cigarettes through the body, especially to the mouth, head, and neck. And for those who both smoke and drink are more likely to be diagnosed with cancer of the head and neck. So don't smoke and drink alcohol together. We also know physical activity, the food we eat, and body weight affect our cancer risk. I don't have time to go through this, but hopefully you'll be able to watch this back and take a read of this slide. So finally, I'm hoping that you've taken home one thing you can do to reduce your cancer risk and one thing you can share with somebody else to reduce their cancer risk. If you are interested in learning more about behaviours that increase and decrease our risk of cancer, you can sign up to the Irish Cancer Prevention Network quarterly newsletter at prevention@cancercontrol.ie. I wish you all the best in your future careers, and hopefully I'll meet some of you in years to come.
Thank you, Anya, for your important message. As Mark mentioned, cancer prevention is a very, very important aspect of cancer control. In summary, I suppose prevention is better than cure. As we start to wrap up and draw to a close, on behalf of myself and the North East Cancer Research and Education Trust, I would like to sincerely thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And we certainly wish you all the very best in your chosen careers ahead. Your feedback for possible future events is very important to us, so we'd appreciate if you can take the few minutes to complete our event survey. Secondly, I would like to thank all our wonderful speakers who so generously give their valuable time on a Saturday to support this initiative. We are greatly appreciative. We also appreciate the valued support of various organisations, namely Queen's University Belfast, RTSI University of Medicine and Health Sciences, the All-Ireland Cancer Research Institute, and the HSE National Cancer Control Programme. Thank you also to Gordon of Revolution Productions for doing an absolutely great job in providing the platform and making sure everything went smoothly. And finally, special mention of thanks to Donna Rogers, Faculty Engagement Manager at Queen's University, and Professor Mark Lawler for their fantastic efforts in delivering this event. In closing our first virtual Medical Open Day, I would again like to thank you, wish you an enjoyable rest of your weekend, and the very best of luck in the future. Thank you.